I'm going to be really honest because
Yes.
I keep trying to beat around the bush, but there's something that your son is trying to make me say that I have to tell you. Did you have thoughts of leaving this world? Your son tells me you have to stay. He says, Matt, you tell my mother she has to stay. So please know there's a couple souls that are here. So first of all, that was your son that passed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then who also passed that was murdered? I kept hearing there was someone who was murdered or killed here in the physical.
My father.
Okay. Your father's here. And please know your son is here as well. You had a lot of people in your life that passed because your father's here saying that she's all alone. She's all alone. And I gotta tell you, your dad, first of all, wants to say that he's sorry for letting you down. And your dad wants to say that he's sorry for not being a part of your life in the way that he should have been. He says, Matt, you don't understand. He says, throughout my life, I always got in trouble here in this world, he tells me. He says, and what, more importantly, your father's going like this to me, because when your loved ones go back, they can see the things that they should have done. And your father keeps going, I was so stupid. I was so stupid. He tells me that he put you in trouble and his family in trouble because of the things that he did.
Yes, sir.
Because I see that there were bad people around your life growing up, meaning people that were not family members. These were people that were connected to your dad. And the one thing that I have to tell you is this. Can I tell you everything? Because I really don't want to say some of the things that I'm seeing.
Yes, sir.
Your father just said to me, Matt, please tell my daughter that I am so happy that she cleaned up her life, because that was something that I couldn't do here in this world. Your dad tells me that just like him, because of the way that you were brought up, he tells me that you were lost for a little bit. He tells me. He says, and Matt, he goes, please tell my daughter that I am so proud of her, not because of the past, but because of the way that she brought herself out of it with nobody there. He says, my daughter was against all odds. He tells me that growing up, you were around drugs, alcohol, money, all these things. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Please know that your dad is acknowledging that you were, he says, Matt, he says, my daughter's one thing. She's a survivor. He says, and the one thing that your dad tells me is that I should have been your father. I should have been the one helping you. He says, but instead, he tells me that you're helping out your whole family. And do you know that your dad says to me, Matt, I wish I would have gotten to be the father that she needed and the father that I should have been. But I'm going to be very honest with you. Your father tells me, Matt, I got sidetracked here in this world. Because I'm asking him, well, why? Why didn't you step up to the plate? Why didn't you do this for your daughter? Why weren't you there? And do you know that your dad just said to me that he became obsessed with money here in this world?
Yes.
And know that your dad says to me, I'm sorry for putting this in front of everybody else, because all I was focusing on was making money, making money. Your son is also here when I'm connecting. But your son was just young when he had died. Please know that that soul is here. And right away when I'm connecting with him, I just saw little clothes that's here of your son's.
I do. Yes.
Please know that he's thanking you for keeping that of his. And please know that one of the things that he's acknowledging is this. He says to me, Matt, he says, I am so sorry that my mom had to go through my passing here in this world. But he wants to thank you for the way that you keep his memory alive every single day when I'm connecting with him. And more importantly, he tells me about all the things that you had done. So first of all, I just asked your son, give me some specific things. And he shows me his name being written everywhere. Did you have like shirts made in memory of him and like hats made in memory of him? Because I keep seeing like he's telling me he's got his own merchandise. And I'm like, what do you mean your own merchandise? He says to me, well, Matt, after I died, he goes, my mom made me like a brand. He goes, there's different things that have my name on it.
Yes.
He's also telling me about the bracelet. Did you also have a bracelet made in memory of him here in the physical?
Yes.
He says to me, please thank my mom for the bracelet. If you talk about the bracelet, she's going to know that it's real. Now, I don't like to say things that are apparent. So as I'm looking at you, you're all tatted up. So I know that you got a tattoo in memory of your son, but anybody could say that, right? So I'm asking your son to tell me things that nobody can possibly know or nobody can possibly guess. And that's why I'm having him bring up all these things. So know that one of the things is that he said to me, Matt, when she had that bracelet made, I was there and with her. But the other thing that he wants to thank you for is the way that you protected him so much here in this world. Your son says to me that you were in a really tough situation with him. He says to me, because not only were you trying to be a mom, but he tells me there were issues that you had with his father here in this world.
Yes.
And he says to me, Matt, that's the one thing that was so tough, is that you feel like you were pulled in two places. You were trying to protect your son, but also you were in this horrible relationship at the time that was weighing on you and weighing on him. Please know that your son says to me, thank you for protecting me. You did all you could. And he's bringing that through. Because he tells me that you still feel responsible for his passing here in this world. Because he keeps telling me there's regret of you not being with him.
It was a suicide and it happened right in front of me. So he passed away while I was holding him. But I wasn't told that he was given a gun. So it happened instantly.
He's telling me that you were upset about who he was with that day. That you were upset because he wasn't supposed to be with a certain person. That's what he's telling me. I don't know if that person was his dad or who it was, but he tells me that you keep going back on that day and saying, if I was there, I would not have let this happen.
Yes, he was with his dad that day.
That's the reason why. So know that he tells me that all of your guilt and pain is because of you leaving him with his dad. And that was something that you felt internally. You did not want him to see his father that day. That's what he tells me.
No.
So when you actually came into your son passing of suicide, you came in too late. You got there just as he was taking his life.
Yes.
So that's what your son is showing me. He tells me that the one thing that he needs to let you know on the other side is this. He says to me, Matt, I want my mom to know that she couldn't have eyes on me at all times. As it was, he tells me you were afraid to leave the house. You were afraid to leave him alone. You were afraid to pass him over. But listen, there's one thing that you need to know, all right? And you're not going to like what I have to say, but I have to tell you the God's honest truth. And that is that his father was still his father. So the thing is that his father had equal rights to him just as you did, right? But you can't go and change what his father did, how his father acted, or the type of father that his father was. Just like you couldn't change your own dad. So your son says to me that the only thing that you could do is encourage your son. And that's what you did. Every day you encouraged your son to be strong, to be a good person. You encouraged him to take control of his life, right? And to look towards the future. So
Yes.
Your son says to me this, he says, Matt, my mom is my hero. And he knows that every day you live life for him. And he also tells me that there was another child that was lost. So I don't know if you had a pregnancy that didn't make it full term.
Yes.
Please know that that soul is also there as well, because all of these souls are guardian angels with you every single day. But your son says to me this, he says, Matt, please tell my mom that this is her chance to start over. He says, it's okay to leave behind the past, because leaving behind the past does not mean that you let go of your son. Your son will always be with you. And that's his way of validating that. He says to me that what he needs you to know is that on the other side, he is your special angel with you every single day. He did meet your dad. He did meet your grandfather. He has all those people that are there that are in spirit. And know that every day that goes by, he's here and he's watching over you. I'm going to be really honest, because I keep trying to beat around the bush, but there's something that your son is trying to make me say that I have to tell you.
Okay.
Did you have thoughts of leaving this world? Your son tells me you have to stay. He says, Matt, you tell my mother she has to stay, because he tells me that you're like, how am I gonna live my life? How am I gonna stay here in this world when everybody died around me? Your son says to me, Mom, he says, you need to stay here. It's not your time. And he's making you promise right here and right now that you're gonna live life for the both of you, for you right now and also for your son. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Your son says to me this, there's still things in your life that you deserve as his mother. You deserve happiness and you deserve love. And he says to me, Matt, despite the past that you had, he talks about the fact that there's a new chapter that's opening that your son can see. And he says to me, Matt, please tell her to not think those thoughts. I am here with her every single day. And that know that on the other side, I am guiding her every single step of the way. All right, I'm going to leave you with that. I really hope that this helped you. And I want to thank you for being here.